Bow Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Wow! Woo!
No, no time for the imitation today. He's actually starting to sound like his cat.
I know, it's crazy.
Never heard her meow like that. Have you?
I don't know, but I feel like that's what cats sound like.
Yeah.
Welcome in, one and all, to Banger Management, the Fantasy Hockey Podcast with Jake, Josh, and Kevin. Today,
Oh, no,
our
did it freeze?
week... What?
Today is gonna be the day.
Did someone say something? Or am I going
I
crazy?
think Josh said something.
Josh did
Yeah,
say
I
something.
said did it freeze because it froze for a second for me.
You froze
Oh.
a little bit, but I think the viewers are just gonna appreciate it. They don't have to see your face for a second or two.
Oh, sick. Okay, cool. This
All
sounds like
right,
a good
sorry.
money for my Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Today, our Week 16 Buy Low, Sell High episode. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Follow us on our socials in the podcast description, and be sure to join the Discord community. Just click that button, make a username, and then you're in. And don't forget, subscribe on YouTube and give this video a like. Let's start with our 2 weeks ago update.
But
The
wait,
buy lows, we'll get into it. The sell highs were incredible, though.
Yeah,
Buy
but
lows. Listen,
do gotta say though,
anyway.
before we touch that, if you're listening to this, the giveaway is over. We have randomized. If you want the giveaway, we'll shoot you a Discord DM. So make sure you check those out. It might be in the message request if we're not friends with everybody that won. So congrats to those who won. And then once everybody has claimed, we can shout out the winners on the podcast if you like or whatnot. But for the moment, check your Discord DMs and hopefully congrats, you won. If not, don't forget the Dauber Guide was still on sale. You can check it out on the website.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like this was pretty hype. Like, I could see us doing more giveaways in the future. We'll see what we could come up with. But this was pretty cool. And I
That was
hope
fun.
everyone enjoyed. Even if you didn't win, I hope you got into the hype because it's fun putting your name and stuff like that.
This one was like for a week, so it was like close. Like we got reached out to. With the recording schedule and everything, we try to do that as soon as possible. So hopefully the next one, maybe we have a longer time. Maybe we give away something that's our own guide or something. Let's see.
Ooh, wow, crazy.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, well, let's get into this 2 weeks ago update, starting with our buy lows. So first we had Leo Carlsson. Since then, 4 games played, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, and then he got injured. He's out for 3 to 5 weeks. Look, it's hard to, in both ways. We don't pat ourselves on the back when we recommend a guy for a sell high and then he gets injured. I also don't think we could, say that we screwed up when a guy gets injured like that. It happens and it can't be predicted. I still think he's going to bounce back. I think we all still think he's going to bounce back when he comes back. Honestly, maybe this break, recovery or whatever, it'll be good for him, mental reset, whatever. Maybe the team will have figured it out by the time he returns, but I still think, if anything, he's even more of a buy low now.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if you can stash him on your IR plus, I would definitely try to be acquiring. And I think the price has just gone lower and lower. So now with the injury, especially if the manager is near the bottom of the table, and Leo Carlsson's not going to be helping them make the playoffs in their fantasy league, right? So if you have somebody, you're in a position of power, you're near the top of the standings, and you can ship off maybe your 3rd or 4th center, or a guy that you're not even starting every week for Leo Carlsson, I think that's a slam dunk with the upside that he could give you for your fantasy playoffs.
Yeah. All right, then we had Connor Hellebuck, Winnipeg Jets. 6 games played, 3 wins, 3.51 goals against average, .881 save percentage. I know the rate stats don't look good, but those 3 wins all came in the last 3 games. So we always say with our buy lows, boat doesn't turn direction immediately after we recommend it. Sometimes it takes a week or a bit of time, but we're seeing it. 3 wins in 3 games, a lot better numbers than what this 2 weeks update says, because before that he hadn't bounced back yet. I think the window's closing faster and faster. The window was already, as bad as he's been with a name like that, the window was already difficult. But the second you see a flash of that, the owner is not going to sell. So the window may be closed with these 3 wins in a row. And then
I'm really happy about that one because they looked bad for a while, but I think now people are starting to. The window with these guys is always so small, right? We're talking about Connor Hellebuck, but I feel like everybody gave up on him.
Yeah.
So now the 3 wins in a row, I'm not saying he's completely back, but it's definitely encouraging. And once the window is closed, you're not going to be able to get him for a sniff of the price that you were able to get him before.
Absolutely. What I'm reminding myself as the season goes, and I just keep seeing it, especially because we're doing all these episodes and we're seeing, we're following stuff along even more than we usually do before we did the pod, is at the end of the day, if a guy got drafted in the first 2 rounds, even if he's playing like garbage, usually over the course of the season, the ship will right itself. You know, like
Mhm.
obviously there's exceptions, but even look at a guy like JT who's been awful all year. He's starting to turn it around. You know, like there's really like Nylander was awful for a while. Obviously, he's got injured again, but like he
Mhm.
came back, potted like 7 points in 2 games, and then was like, all right, I'm out. You know, like these guys, there's a reason they got drafted where they did, and it's just very rare for a guy like that to not come close to what you expect. And then in the same vein on the other side, you have these guys who got drafted like 14th, 15th, 16th, whatever round, and they're like super hot. Like it's very rare that that's sustainable. Like there's always those diamond in the haystacks. But I mean, look at even Leo Carlson. At the start of the year, right? It looked like he was going to be the steal of the draft. Got drafted double-digit rounds. Was ranked #1 in the league for like 2 months, and then he came back way back down to earth. And now we still think he's going to turn it around. But like all this to say, just generally like if you have a guy who's underperforming like crazy, it's good to buy low like Hellebuck, and if you have a guy who's overperforming like crazy, it's good to sell high. I don't know why I got into that tangent. I think I've just been thinking about it lately. I guess actually I was thinking about it because I have Patrick Kane, and I was trying to trade him for so long because I drafted him like the 15th round, and now he's like come crashing down to earth, and I'm like I should have tried harder to trade him. And
Yeah.
I had a guy like Chris Kreider who I drafted in the 16th round, and I managed to sell him high when he was really hot at the start of the season, and he's been absolute garbage. So
Yeah.
like it just reminded myself like you're caught in the weeds in the moment, you're caught in the hype or in the unhype, but
Mhm.
like just take a step back and remember kind of where they were drafted, what were their expectations for the season were, and oftentimes over the course of the season it ends up evening out. Anyways, sorry for that tangent.
The proper terminology was D-hype.
D-hype, sorry,
Yeah.
exactly. Lastly, we had Cutter Gauthier for buy low. 5 games played, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. He actually got kind of benched last game.
Mhm.
I still think he's still been shooting very well, and I think brighter days are ahead. These two, the Carlson and Gauthier one, tie in together obviously with the Ducks, and they obviously weren't as good as they started the season at, but there's no way they're this bad, so they're gonna figure something out.
Gauthier
All
was
right, but
sick also. So like
yeah,
he had like an illness in his last
yeah,
game, so perhaps that contributed to the benching. I still think that like there's no way he's not going to get way better minutes than 9 moving
yeah,
forward. And even in that 9 minutes, he still got 3 shots. So he's going to be good
yeah,
for shots. He should get better for the points too.
absolutely. And yeah, you can really buy him probably for like peanuts right now. So I would be very interested
Yeah.
in that. Let's go to sell highs because this is like epitome
We
of
killed it.
we're geniuses. So first we had Val Nichushkin, 7 games played, 0 goals, 1 assist, 1 point. Okay, at the time he was over a point per game over the past month. He had just gotten power play 1, and I said this is not going to last. I said power play 1 on the Avs is the most unstable thing. I wouldn't be surprised if within the week he loses it. Literally the day we recorded the episode, he lost power play 1. Like after recording. So, and
Yep.
then look at this, 1 point in 7 games. Huge sell high. I hope everyone got off that train because he's looking like a drop lately.
He's a
honestly.
cut in most leagues now.
Yeah, exactly. Next we had Mackenzie Weegar, 7 games played, 0 goals, 2 assists, 2 points. At the time he was killing it, right? When we recommended it, I got some power play points too, and just the points completely dried up. And this is exactly, I mean, this is just we're so good, right? Like this is, it's like we're always really good, but this is like crazy, like how we sniped these.
I think Uyghur was like, it was a hot topic when I put it on there because, he was a big name that sucked all season that finally was doing well for a good stretch. And then lo and behold, he's just not that guy this year. So
Yeah, not that guy, pal.
hopefully you're able to capitalize on the name value and the production that he had because came crashing down. Now, maybe if Rasmus Anderson gets traded, maybe Uyghur plays even more minutes and he's always good for the bangers. It's just like now
Yeah.
you're doing bangers and points. And if you could have got like a stud, like we said back to do 2 weeks ago, then you're probably really happy.
Yeah. And then lastly, we had Noah Dobson. Since then, 8 games played, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. Again, 3 points in 8 games versus what he was doing earlier. It was like almost a point per game over the past like 2-3 weeks at the time. And look, we said he wasn't power play 1. This was not sustainable, and then he completely dropped off. These sell highs were all unreal. This is one of our best weeks of 2 weeks ago of sell highs. So, but I mean, honestly, that's just par for the course for us. We really kill it at this episode. Not to get too not to hype us up too much, but the numbers prove it. So
We do record these episodes every week. Like a lot of other fantasy content creators, they do like monthly buy low sell high episodes, or it's like way more scattered out. Guys, we're giving you names every week, but that means the windows are constantly fluctuating. It's like windows open and close, and you need to take advantage of them when you can because, we talked about Nichushkin. He was sick for like 2-3 weeks, and then just like that, snap of the fingers, Thanos hits him, and
Yeah.
he's dead in the water. So you got to act quick on these. We try to specify when it's like a guy that's like, get him off right now, or like, it's a gradual thing. But we're not usually wrong on these. Like, I feel like if we looked at our success metrics, like over the season or over like actual long period of time, like if you've made the trades that we've suggested, you've been very happy. So
Absolutely. I mean, I know.
I'm not trying to force anybody to take our advice, but I mean,
No, I mean, look, I know we recorded this episode, and even though I came up with some of the stuff in the episode, I immediately go and start sending offers for like all the guys we did. If I have any of the sell highs on my team, I sent, like I immediately take action. So if I'm a listener and I'm listening to this, I would immediately be like even as I'm listening, I'm like, okay, just like let's do it. Let's send that offer out, like, and a lot of times it gets done, and it I'd say most of the time works out. But let's get into
Dobson,
this week.
One thing though, Dobson, is that he was at 1.33 points per game when I recommended him as a sell high. Now he's like obviously fell off considerably. He does sometimes play power play 1 if you are a Habs fan and watch the games. Like that kind of does happen. I still wouldn't buy into it. Like, to me, he's really not even a buy right now. I just think that this is kind of what he's going to be doing. Then if he falls off more, then sure, fine. But it's still like, this is Hudson's power play 1, I think, for any sustainable stretch.
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed that also watching Habs games. Like, I haven't pinpointed a specific occasion, like a pattern. Like, when they do it, I think sometimes it'll be like Hudson was just on the ice, something like that. It could be, I know, like I saw there was a 5-on-3 at one game where like Hudson was on the 5-on-4, but then when it became a 5-on-3, they put Dobson out there. So
weird.
I'm not sure exactly like why or when they decide. I think the coach just feels very comfortable having Dobson there as well, but it's still definitely Hudson's, like you said.
Yeah. All right, we can get into it. This is gonna be fun.
So I'm gonna give a disclaimer. I've been moving into my house for the past weekend, and I've just had absolutely no time, so I had to ask my nice co-hosts here to write my my choices for this week, but I fully agree with them. So
wow, that's the best way of being like, I agree, but it wasn't me, so if anything goes wrong.
No, if anything, I want to give you guys the credit for it. I know it's all going to work out, so I just don't want to take credit for the choices you guys made. But yeah, so I'll start with my choice for this week with air quotes is Matthew Knies, which is a guy I've 100% been trying to target lately. And last 2 weeks, he's at 0.57 points per game, less than 1 shot and 1 hit over the last 2 weeks, less than 2 shots and hits over the last month. That's huge. The bangers are down, and that's been his bread and butter all year. Toronto is just starting to cook. He'll be a part of the team's success, and you have the chance to buy one of the integral parts of this team for cheap right now. They may not have the best playoff schedule, but you can get great value on Knies in a package deal, and I'd still love to have him on my team. He should be over a double-double and hover just under a point per game. So pretty much I think the biggest thing here, like if you, like, I feel like we've had this conversation when like Jakey recommended Forsberg a few like months ago, right? Where his points were way down, but his bangers were still elite. And so Kevin was saying, oh, I don't think this is a buy low because although he is going to bounce back points-wise, everyone who has him is still super happy to have him on their team. This is different because not only are Knies' points down, but also the bangers are down. The shots and hits are just disappeared over the past 2 weeks. And that's very worrisome, for
less than
owners.
1 is crazy.
Less than 1 is actually, like, how do you go from a guy who was like for the first couple of months, he was like over double-double, like over a point per game, just the type of guy you're like, man, I can't believe I didn't draft him, or I'm so happy I drafted him where I did, and just completely has fallen off. Definitely not sustainable. Also, another thing is that he's been kind of like bumped on and off of power play 1. So owners definitely could be worried about that. I don't see long-term like him losing the spot to Matias Maccelli. It just doesn't make sense.
And Nylander's hurt now.
Nylander's hurt. Tavares was off power play 1 for a bit. Like, they're really just scrambling and kind of just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping to see what sticks. So all to be said, I'm not worried about Knies at all. If you have the chance to get a guy who's a double-double with point per game upside, then, and like, the playoff schedule's not great, but they do have a lot of off nights. So even though it's a 3-3-3, they still have a lot of off nights that could help you out and could end up, mitigating the lack of games. So
week 21 to 23, 3-3-3.
Yes, week 21 to 23. That's usually what we talk about. But if you have other playoffs, just message us in the Discord and we'll specify. Good 1-for-1 targets: Kevin Fiala, Slafkovsky, Steven Stamkos, Nick Ehlers. Ehlers just put up a 4-point game. So I would take Knies over all these guys. The closest one to me is Slav, but I would still take Knies over him. It's actually funny because we had this exact discussion in the offseason. So that's funny that it's coming up again. All the others I think are slam dunk for Knies.
I think it's the only one I'd take. I said that in the offseason.
I was going to say, I think Slav you could probably aim higher than Knies if you have him right now because, we touted him as a sell high. But if push came to shove and this was the highest I could get, I'm still happy with the move, to be honest.
Even with the worst playoff schedule though?
Yeah, with the worst playoff schedule, obviously it's like you're getting a couple weeks of 4 games of Slav versus 3 of Knies. It's close, but the bangers should be just way
Yeah.
better.
I think if you do that, you should definitely be getting Nice Plus at this
Yeah.
point in time.
No, absolutely.
But like I'm still happy with that.
Yeah, Jake, you'd still prefer
No.
Slav over Knies?
Yeah, and it's only just because like he's finally gotten a groove and obviously
And found the line that works well for him also.
Yeah, he's way overperforming. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say that I wouldn't consider selling him. I would just simply aim higher.
But what do you
There
think is an
are-
average rest of season then, points?
Slav
Yeah.
at 0.9. Now he's at 1.2 over
I
like
would
the
say like
last few
0.85,
weeks.
0.9. I think
Yeah.
that could be reasonable.
Yeah.
I see
I
Nice
think
being
it's gonna be
similar.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who gets more shots and who gets more hits?
Well, that's
I
it.
think
Like
Knies.
it's quite concerning, but I still think like that there's such a huge discrepancy right now, and they were drafted in a similar spot that I just feel
Yeah.
like it's not like this is like a second round guy, right? Where
Yeah.
I and like it's not to say that I even like disagree with the recommendation. It's just there's got to be a plus there. The other
Yeah.
X I love though. That to me it's like a clear you're trying to sell and you're getting back something better.
Yeah.
Absolutely, there should be a plus. But you said straight up you'd rather just Slav over Knies, right?
Yeah, I think
it's
so.
I think it's close enough that like the way you make this trade beneficial to you is by being like, okay, I'll take the massive downgrade of Nice from Slav, and then I'll take a big upgrade in the second person in the 2
Yeah.
for 2.
You make it a
When
2
in
for
your
2.
head you're like they're super similar, even if you would slightly prefer Slav, since the
Mhm.
other part of the trade is such a big win, you don't care about who ends up better.
I'm
Yeah.
taking like I would put Velarde in there as a sell instead of Slav, as an example. I prefer Slav over Velarde. I think like Nye should have like Slav's backhats are good. Like the shots hits are decent, not as good as Nye's should be, but still decent. Whereas Velarde's are usually kind of non-existent, but he's decent for points. I'm taking Nye's over Velarde, and that's someone who's performed super well recently.
Can I give
Yeah.
another name? Would you do
I'll allow it.
Timo?
I would take Nice over Timo for sure.
I'll
Yeah,
take
because
Nye over
Timo's
Timo,
dried
yeah.
up, but his bangers have still been pretty great.
Yeah.
And he's always got that upside of the line clicks and he gets PP1.
Yeah, it's just not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, it's
Stop
still
trying to make fetch
fantastic.
happen.
I love this recommendation as a buy low though. Really,
Thanks.
it's
I came
great.
up with it in my sleep. All right, let's get to Kevin's choice.
All right. This is the first time that I feel like I'm a little scared to talk about this guy, but I also have strong conviction. I'm back to going the goalies, guys. Every week I feel like I'm pulling the goalies and it's working out. So
I did
trying to
goalies
continue
last
my
week.
streak. What?
I was goalies last week.
Yeah, you had Ottinger, it's true. But
Yeah.
usually I feel like if we look at all the goalies, I feel like most of them have been me.
Okay.
All right.
Awkward silence.
I'm
But let's
fine. I'm
continue.
fine with that claim. I have no issue with that.
But I'm here to talk about Sergei Bobrovsky. Now, the timing is spectacular because he just got shelled for 9 goals against the Carolina
He got
Hurricanes.
Markstrommed.
He literally got Markstrommed. And listen, Bobrovsky has maybe been one of the most disappointing goalie picks the whole year because he's been inconsistent all year. But I truly believe that the Panthers could win the cup this year. Like they could go back to back to back. And if they win the cup this year, it's because they're probably going to finish the season strong. They're not going to, be a dollar sign, and then end up winning the Stanley Cup. Like it just doesn't happen like that. But they're still not healthy. Matthew Tkachuk has yet to come back. Seth Jones is on IR. They got Juvis Belinskis running
GOAT.
power play 1. But I do think that Florida rest of season will be a great team. And if you're getting the starter on a great team, we always talk about how fantasy success is strongly correlated for goalies towards the team's success. Like no matter how good a goalie is himself, if he's on a bad team, like he's going to struggle. He's going to have games that he is awful. He's going to have games that the team lets him down, and even though he performed well, he doesn't get the wins. Wins are everything for fantasy goalies, it feels like. And come playoff time, in your fantasy playoffs, you want goalies on good teams. And over the last month, Bobrovsky has been at 861 save percentage. Last season, he was at a 906. Over the last month, he's been at 316 goals against average. Last year, he was at 2.44. So significantly worse than last year. And he's been significantly bad the whole season. But I still think there's way better days ahead. And I want to acquire him because you can acquire him for cheap right now. Like, especially after this last game against Carolina, if the opponent manager is not like top of the table, they have Bobrovsky in their lineup and they're bottom 3 or they're still fighting for a playoff spot, and they have a guy that's like ruining their goalie categories every single week because of performances like this, you could probably send like a UC Saros for him, Stuart Skinner for him, UPL for him. I think you can sell Swayman. I know my co-host may not agree with that one. The line might be too high, but I really think the price for Bobrovsky is at its lowest of lows right now, and there's better days ahead. And if I'm in goalie trouble, this is the guy that I'm trying to target to cement my goalie position.
He has not had over a 900 save percentage in over a month.
It's awful, guys.
And in that period, he's only not started like 3 of those games. So it's really horrible. I totally agree that this is the lowest of lows.
Mhm.
And I've been saying all year that, this is a team that's made the playoffs and won the Stanley Cup the past 2 years. They're a shoo-in, there's no problem. As the season goes on, what's going to happen is that their backup's going to play more because Bob is old, and now we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, no, they need to start winning, and Bob is easily their best bet for that. So I'm now less scared that he's not going to get as many games moving forward. And yeah, I think this is fantastic. The one reason I think Swayman, it just kind of, even though I believe in Florida way more than Boston for the duration of the season, I just think that he's actually a really good goalie in his own right. So that's why I'm apprehensive there. But I can see where you're coming from because the correlation with the team success, I totally agree.
And also, like,
But the others for sure.
you did say that he hasn't had a 900 save percentage over the last month, and yet he still won 50% of the games that he's played, which is a really good win rate for a goalie. Like, usually the best ones are like 60%, 70%. Like last year, he won 60% of his games. For the last month, he's at 50%, and he's been playing like the worst hockey of his career.
Yeah.
So
That's so crazy.
That's a good foundation to have. Like, he's just goes to show that Florida's still a great team, and that even despite his performances, that you're winning games. Now imagine if he starts performing a little better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
wild
no,
stuff.
I love this one. Honestly, I find that a lot of times the scariest ones, like sometimes we have ones where like this is a no-brainer,
Yeah.
like Jakey's coming up is a no-brainer, like sometimes when you have like an elite guy who like is just in a slow period or whatever, like in a slump, you're like, I'm not worried at all,
Yeah.
Sometimes you have ones where you're like, this is scary. Like, should I even recommend this? Like, and then you're like, no, I trust my process. I'm gonna recommend it. Those are the ones that have the highest upside because since you're like, if even we're like scared to recommend it, it means that person's value is so low right now that like you can get them for such a cheap price, and then when the bounce back happens, if/when, it's massive. So, and I've had a lot of times where I've believed in it, and then I second guess myself. I was too scared to do it, and then the bounce back happens, and I'm like, I could have gotten this guy for so cheap, like sometimes, like I mean, like I'm thinking like off the top of my head of like a non necessarily like performance related one, but like with Darlene when he took that leave of absence,
Yeah.
right? I'm still beating myself up over that. Like I was like, should I be? Normally I would be shooting out offers, but I'm like, oh, maybe he's out for the season, blah blah blah. Comes back like 2 days later, like so.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's like scary, it's highest risk but way highest reward. So
But also,
I like
like,
this
the
a lot.
price is baked into the risk. Like,
That's
you're not
100%.
paying your best goalie for Sergei Bobrovsky right now.
Exactly. Like if you pay any of these guys, like look, Swayman is the best of the ones you put, but I'd still probably take Bobrovsky over him. And yeah, if you pay any of these guys, like, and then Bob like keeps being terrible, like fact is, like you said, even while during this terrible stretch, he's getting 50% of wins. Wins are worth a lot in a lot of leagues. That could be a
Yep.
category, that could be points in a points league, like. Even with these, like he could lose like 9-1, but then like the next game he gets like a 0.87 save percentage and gets the win and like ends up like positive or something. So people have wacky scoring settings with wins, but all that to say, no, I think it's a great pick.
Would you trade John Gibson for Sergei Bobrovsky?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good one also.
What about the GOAT, Philip Grubauer?
Yeah, obviously. I was wondering if I can do it for like Decord, but like I don't think the guy would accept it.
What about Vejmelka?
Yeah, I would take Bob over Vejmelka.
There you go.
Vejmelka's such a good goalie.
He is. He's actually really good. I wonder,
probably.
And for in our league, like I'm wondering if it would probably be dumb to send like Kemper for Bob with like a massive plus. But like I was thinking of that.
I mean, Kemper
like,
doesn't have pull right now.
That's it. Like it's just the worst time to try and sell him because he's like been as bad, if not worse than Bob. So yeah, I don't think I can. You see, that's what I'm saying though. We do this episode and I'm immediately thinking, okay, like how do I send out offers for this stuff? So that's I hope all our fans are doing that.
I would rather have Kemper over Bob rest of season.
Yes, I agree. Like I would only do it if I got an upgrade elsewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, Jakey, take us to yours.
Okay. This one may come as a surprise, especially if you don't own him in your league. But for the last few weeks, Seider has really not been looking too great. We're talking about Moritz
Dixon?
Seider on the
Oh,
Detroit
okay.
Red Wings.
Not his brother.
That's why I had to contextualize. The Red Wings have been awesome this year. They're at the top of the rankings in the East. Their power play is 6th in the entire NHL, and Seider's pretty much been on there all year. And his minutes are fantastic as always. Plus, he never gets injured. Hashtag German engineering. However, it's definitely been a very weird year for him. You drafted him pretty high or traded for him with the expectation that you're going to get a solid defenseman for shots, hits, and blocks, great points upside, and top-notch minutes. And the hits have been pretty disappointing for most of the year, but the shots, blocks, and points have been very decent as a whole. Yet he's going through a substantial slump in all categories for almost the entire last month, and it's gotten particularly bad in the last 2 weeks. Slight little preface also, I heard at some point the Red Wings announcer, obviously they're biased, but they were saying like, oh yeah, Seider should be in the conversation for the Hart. Like people are saying that, and as of late, we're far from that conversation. And if you look at the last 2 weeks, he's at a .33 points per game, all of which are power play points, and that's kind of groovy, but overall, you're still pretty disappointed in the points column. He's at 1 shot per game, 0.8 hits, 2.3 blocks. You're not holding him on your team only to be a blocks guy, and I think that if you see how great Detroit's been over the last few weeks, and couple that with the fact that Seider's been disappointing over that period, it can definitely raise some eyebrows, and perhaps the owner is feeling uneasy about his rest of season outlook. And the last quick point on this is that his current season averages for points are putting him on a pace to beat his previous career high. Currently, he's on pace for 56 points in 82 games, and his career high is 50. But the only reason that he's on pace for 56 this year is because of his recent drought. So I think that actually it should even out, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets into the 60 to 65 range this year. Pairing that with what should be positive regression for shots, and hopefully his hits come around as well, you end up with an absolute banger league stud, and it's probably your best time to acquire him all year. Some targets I'm looking at. I'm curious if you guys are going to agree across the board here. Charlie McAvoy, Darren Radish, spicy, but I think I definitely still would make that move. Josh Morrissey, real emphasis on banger leagues here because in points there's a world in which I'd rather have Morrissey. John Carlson and Roman Yossi.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I love this. I mean, I sold high on Seider a few weeks ago, like right before this drought, it feels like.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really keeping up with him that much lately, but I didn't realize that he had slowed down so much. So pat myself on the back for that. But no, I mean, there's no reason for him to be doing this poorly. In terms of your targets, I would take Seider over all of them. So obviously, there's varying degrees of which ones I like more than the other, but I would take Seider over all of them. My only thing that I wanted to mention, and I'm not sure if this is something you guys are worried about, is I think a Rasmus Anderson trade is happening like today, maybe tomorrow. I think it's happening imminently, and I wonder if Detroit's in the conversation. And are you worried about him going to Detroit and then bumping Seider off power play 1?
It's crazy because I do think the Rasmus Anderson trade is happening. I do think Detroit is one of the likeliest options. I do think there's other teams that are in for Anderson as well, right? I could see. I think Minnesota was interested in him as well. Obviously, he will not get PP1 there, but if he goes to Detroit, like there's a chance that he could get PP1. Like they've had, ASP have certain looks there at certain times. I don't even know who I think is a better power play quarterback, but I feel like there's a chance that they might try it. But sorry, I can't articulate anymore. But that does not stop me from buying Seider because I think the price, like Jakey said right now, is pretty low. If you can flip Darren Radish for Seider, I feel like that's a slam dunk. Like we talk about Darren Radish being a sell high for so long, but people have trouble selling him with the name value, so I totally get it. You might have to do Radish plus, but I might not do, depending on what the plus is, I might not do that just because Radish, I do generally believe he's going to have good value. But these other names that Jakey mentioned are all slam dunks to me. So I think you're taking on the risk with the price, and I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, so it's all that to say, kind of like we said with the Bobrovsky one, is like just make sure you're not paying too much. Like you should be getting a reward for taking on all that risk, essentially. If you're paying the full price, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, let's get to our sell highs. So again, my choice, air quotes, for this week is Clayton Keller. This is one of our what do we call it, like the Cinderella yo-yo or something,
Yep.
where he goes from like buy low, sell high, buy low. So he was a buy low earlier this year, but over the past month he's at 1.23 points per game, 0.31 power play points, and 2.54 shots. He's doing what we expected, except the points are a bit higher than anticipated. Now's the time to cash in if you play in a standard competitive league with playoff weeks 21 to 23, because that 2-game finals off your roster is crucial to get a better playoff schedule and a lateral player. We said this was the plan earlier: buy low and then sell when he bounces back, and time to end the chapter on this plan. That's it's crazy. This is exactly what we said to do. We were like I remember, I think I can't remember if it was my recommendation or what, but I was like, what I would do is just buy him, wait for him to turn it up, and then sell him, and then that's the plan. So yeah, step 1, buy him. Step 2, he turns it around. We're on step 3, boys. Let's get there. So some targets: Adrian Kempe, Drake Batherson, Jesper Bratt, Kirill Marchenko. These are all great targets. I think that looking at this, Kempe for sure, Batherson, yeah, Bratt, yeah, Marchenko. I think you should be able to get Marchenko plus.
Really?
I think
I mean,
Keller's
he's been pretty good.
It's less about how he's been. I mean, first of all, Keller's been insane.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just the name, right? Like, Keller's supposed to be better than Marchenko. So
I mean, you get Brat Plus as well.
a Brat plus for sure. Kempe plus, honestly, with how he's been. Maybe Batherson's the only one. I think even all these guys you should get plus. Yeah, you should get them plus. But I'm still happier with that person with the playoff schedule.
So if you can't do plus, would you still do it all 1 for 1?
I feel like I try to aim for somebody that I'm getting good value on. Like I do want this is the window that he's been so productive. Guys, don't wait for him to slow down again before you sell him, because first of all, we're approaching the trade deadlines. So the window to sell him is getting lower. And the closer we get to playoffs, the more people are aware of what the playoff schedules are. Like, maybe most of your league doesn't know that he has a 2-game week in the championship if you play in the weeks 21 to 23. And that week 23, 2 weeks, you don't want them on your roster. You want another guy that's equal value that has 4 games or 3 games, and you really get the most out of that position slot. That's why I think targeting all these guys would be phenomenal. But you also don't want to, at a certain point, you don't want to tear down too far. Obviously, I think these guys are all great players in themselves, and I'd be happy to have them on my team for playoffs. But you want to take advantage of the situation and trade for what he's worth too. So
yeah, these would all have to be, I think, a 2 for 2, where you also get an upgrade on the other part of the trade.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I will say, though, Marchenko actually has been quite good, too. It's like similar vibes to Keller. I know that Keller should be better, so I think what? Yeah, Keller's been great.
Good too, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is totally a great sell high recommendation. Just actually, Marchenko Plus may look like, weirdly, the hardest one here. I would prefer to just, I
prefer to take Brad at a massive plus, honestly. That would be like my ideal one.
That would be great. And Kempe too has been what did Kevin say? Dog awful?
Yeah.
dog awful, $8, $10 sign, whatever you want to say.
So I really like those two, but they're all great. They're all good targets.
Would you trade him for Nylander?
I would take Nylander, yeah.
Because Nylander doesn't have the amazing playoff schedule, but he's hurt. You can maybe do that 1 for 1 or with plus as well.
Yeah, I would take that for sure.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, good.
All right, Kevin, who you got for us?
All right, these are my boys. This is the team that I've been following the whole season. I put my whole season on the line for this team, and they let me down. So
yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, the fantasy players have been great.
Yeah.
The team itself has been dog awful. But yeah, I don't even know what that means, but provocative. I'm talking about Mika Zibanejad. Now, literally, as we speak, a few days ago, the Rangers, Chris Drury put out the memo that, all the guys that you loved seeing in the Rangers jerseys may not be here anymore in the near future. So basically, that's Panarin. And I think the other names that are potentially on the block are like, Trocheck, Zib, I feel like are the other ones. Like JT, they just traded for him. I don't think they can move off of him. He's also the captain. Like, imagine they're like, we're making you the captain after trading for you after 1 year now where you're out. Like,
honestly, he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you had to trade anybody, I feel like he'd be maybe the best guy to trade, but
no, it's not going to happen.
Zibanejad has been insane. Guys, in almost every fantasy format, he's been like a top 10 player over the last month, which is nuts. Over the last 2 weeks, he's at 2.17 points per game. 2.17. For the last month, he's at 1.38, and this is like averaging 0.6 power play points. It's just nuts. It's crazy that one of their star players is doing this. Panarin has also been sick. The other guys have been great, and they're losing almost every game, which is wild.
By a lot.
Yeah, like the Igor
Boston scored
Shesterkin
10 goals
effect.
against them.
Yeah, it's Boston with a B, banger Boston. But listen, we know we know looking at these numbers for Zibanejad that his production could be cut in half, and we'd still be like, yeah, that's a realistic production line for Zibanejad. Imagine his production getting cut in half. You have the ability to sell him as one of the best players in fantasy right now, and I think you need to capitalize on it. I wouldn't always do this because, first of all, he's a right winger that gets face-off wins, which is extremely valuable if you play in a face-off wins league. The trade is also not completely cemented. Like, there's a chance that he stays. I'm pretty sure he has a no move clause as well, so he'd have to waive to go somewhere else. Like, the Rangers just gave no move clauses to everybody, so they're kind of in a pickle. And I did see one news report that said Zibanejad, like, he heard the message from the team and everything, and he's committed to being here and being on like the positive side of the new change. So maybe a trade is less likely than we expect. But at the end of the day, like, the team is going to try to do the best moves for the team, and he's been one of those guys that's just been there forever. And I think they tried to move off of him last year. Maybe now they can. So I hope that this kind of like fire sale of the Rangers doesn't impede on his fantasy value that much, because he's an elite player right now, elite fantasy playoff schedule. So if you actually keep him on your team and he stays on the Rangers, you're going to be happy with the weeks 21 to 23. But right now, he's just such a massive sell high. Anybody that was producing this that's not Connor McDavid, you'd be like, all right, well, the only way he can go is down. And I think right now is the perfect time to cash in, because even if Panarin gets traded, like I had this discussion in the Discord, if Panarin gets traded, I don't think his fantasy value goes to zero. Like, I'm sure it impacts him negatively because, Panarin's not there, less good players, but also, like, you're playing more minutes, you're more integral to the success of the team. Like, the puck is on your stick more often because there's less better players for the puck to be on. So there's like some pros and cons to both, depending if Panarin stays or goes. But right now, like Zibanejad, I think you can trade him for a great player. If you can get Wyatt Johnston, that'd be amazing. If you can get Jack Hughes, which I mentioned as a buy low recently, you may still be able to get him. Rasmus Dahlin, if we're going cross position, like, he's a buy low in himself. We didn't mention him directly on the podcast. And Jake Gensel, I feel like he's been on fire, but you could get realistically with Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic recommendation. The Gensel one to me is probably
It's
the
hard.
toughest because he's been on fire. But
Zibanejad's
I
been
get,
better.
yes, he has. Like, it totally makes sense. I totally do agree with this. His shooting percentage has been super good, and it's clearly just a sell high to aim higher.
Mhm.
But like you said, I mean, yours and the one I'm going to talk about after are kind of like they're not as get them off your team now as Josh's recommendation was. But yes, like, the whole point here is to upgrade, and you can. Dahlin, obviously that's cross position, and I think the value that you're going to get from the defenseman is better. But don't feel bad if you make this swap and then Zibanejad gets more points than Dahlin. Like, that's expected. It's just considering it's coming from the defensive position. That's why it's worth more. So
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is an insane sell high. Like, this is such
Yeah,
a huge
yeah.
one. Honestly, I
is.
think it's closer to get him off your team territory than the other territory. Yeah, it's not like you need him off your team, but like, I think Panarin's 100% getting traded. I think that's kind of like it's done. It's a done
Yeah.
deal. We don't know where, but it's done. And
Hopefully
it
not
doesn't make
Carolina.
him. Yeah, it doesn't make Zibanejad zero, like Evan said, but it is going to hit him a lot. Like, this team is just not good enough to lose a guy like Panarin and then keep scoring at the same pace. There's no one who's going to come in and be like, oh, I'll pick up the slack for Panarin. No, they suck. So Zibanejad's going to take a big hit. He's already overperforming like crazy. He's been very, like, kind of up and down all year. He's had insane stretches like this, and then he's had stretches where he's been super quiet. And also Zibanejad himself might get traded. And if that happens, I think that's a huge hit to his value. I think there's a chance
Yes.
wherever he goes, he doesn't end up on power play 1. There's 100% chance it's going to be a worse playoff schedule. And also we've talked about this a lot over the past year and a half, especially ever since the Rantanen trade, anytime someone gets traded mid-season, it's very hard for them to fit in immediately. It usually takes more time than that to kind of get into the system, and they usually take a hit. So I think this is a huge opportunity to tear up like crazy and not be caught holding the bag when he inevitably slows down a lot. So any of these guys, I'm taking over Zibanejad a million times. If you can get any of these, I'm so happy.
I just mean he's not going to fall off like and be horrible. Even half of
Yeah.
the production, that's like okay.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
in the playoffs you have a decent schedule, and I don't think he's likely to get traded. And this is like nothing to do with hockey, but more to do with just kind of like he likes New York a lot. He's
Yeah.
vibes like quick story. My girlfriend's a huge fan of Joe Santagato at like the basement yard, and I remember like there
Same.
goes maybe just talking to one of you guys one day about like years ago about Zibanejad, and she was like, "I know Mika Zibanejad." I was like, "What? How do you know Mika Zibanejad?" She's like, "Oh, he's friends with Joe and Frankie," and I was like, "What?" He's like a DJ, he's like just like a cool dude who loves New York. So I feel like that's probably why he's so committed to the rebuild, like he just likes
Just don't
being
wanna move.
there and has a good
Yeah,
time.
I mean, look, I saw a quote from him being like, "Yeah, I know it's in my contract. I signed it. About the
Yeah.
no move contract, the no move clause." So,
Yeah.
I think the only way he's gonna leave is if they kind of like force him out, like they did with like Trouba or whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. So yeah, no, he's probably gonna stay. But I'll have to say, I think like if you get any of these names, and it's possible. It's just a no brainer.
What's the
I
lowest
totally
you would
agree.
go for him? Like,
I would go definitely a tier lower than you went and still be happy.
really?
Like you went to like the highest of the high.
Would you trade for Marchenko, obviously?
Yeah, I would take Marchenko.
What about John Tavares?
I'm
Tavares is
apprehensive
tough.
there.
I think the playoff schedule, I wouldn't do it.
What about DeBrincat?
That's tough. I'm not like the biggest DeBrincat fan. I think he's very streaky, but honestly, I'd probably take DeBrincat over Zibanejad.
Well, this was a would you rather, and you said Zibanejad.
Yeah, but I think I've changed my mind.
Okay.
I think, I mean, to be fair, I said that before that letter from the
trade thing?
Rangers that said
Yeah.
that they are going to be
Tanking.
terrible forever. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference. That definitely changed my view a lot.
What about
What about
Jakey
Seider?
Seider? Yeah. There you go. Hey, we're on the same wavelength.
Nice.
About Seider?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Moritz.
Seider, no brainer.
Yeah. That,
Okay.
I think,
that's,
and again, I think you get Seider plus.
You can maybe
For
get
sure.
Matt Boldy right now with the injury or the IR.
That would be sick. That'd be
He
sick.
doesn't have the best playoff schedule, so you're really taking a hit there, but no 2-game weeks.
With a jump in skill that high,
Yeah.
you don't care about the playoff schedule.
what about Cousins?
No, I'm taking his advantage.
You can get more.
Yeah.
I love Cousins, but even
I just
felt
felt
like
like
I'd
I'd ask it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jakey, take us home. Country roads.
Country Road.
I just want to say the last quick thing. And it's not the buy low, sell high of it all. It's just one more Zibanejad story. I remember speaking to my friend who was like a big Senators fan. He's like, we traded Zibanejad for Brassard.
Yeah, that was a brutal trade.
Yeah, that was brutal. So just he's a cool dude. Okay. Anyway, my sell high for this week. He's a great player. Okay, so this is probably the least of the fire sale ones, but I still do think that the whole point here is to upgrade. So we have of the Vegas Golden Knights. No one calls them the Las Vegas Golden Knights. You ever realize that?
Yeah. Because their
Anyways,
letters are
sorry.
VGK. I was thinking that the other day, though.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Of
sure.
the Los in brackets Vegas Golden Knights, Tomas Hertl. Hertl has been a great player to own for bangers for years, especially if you're in a face-offs league. He's consistently been a 0.8 to 0.9 point per game player, solid shots on goal, non-negligible hits actually, and I feel like that's actually picked up since he's been on Vegas more so than on the Sharks. It's been a while. But anyway, his hits have actually been decent, and he has carved out a pretty consistent role on this 5-forward power play. Really, there is a lot to like here. It's simply a recommendation of, and I put this in quotes, you're still happy with him on your team as opposed to a sell him while you can because he will lose all his value. Basically what we've been talking about. I expect him to be about 0.85 points per game rest of the season, and considering his recent pace of 1.3 points per game, coupled with over 0.5 power play 0.5 power play point pace over the last month. Sorry, I froze. Was it frozen? Yeah, so he's at 1.3 points per game and 0.5 power play points over the last month. There's a lot of room for a very realistic negative regression. And yeah, he did have that ridiculous 5-point game recently, which is obviously skewing his statistics, but over his last 6 games, he's recorded 4 multi-point games, so 4 of 2 or more. Overall, I would say you're still happy with Hertl moving forward, but I prefer to trade him for a guy with similar peripheral categories that's going to be more reliable moving forward. Here are my targets. I think you're going to agree with most, and then the last one's going to be interesting. But if you look at the numbers, it's not crazy. Dylan Larkin, Nick Suzuki, Tim Stützle, Seth Jarvis, and anyway, I'll say it, Kirill Kaprizov. But this is like, obviously, you have to add plus.
Yeah. I mean, I love this. This is great. We always talk about, you look at those inflated power play averages and you're like, he's not finishing at 0.5. He'll finish at like 0.35 at best, right? That's immediately a 0.15 hit. I think you nailed it with where you expect him to end around 0.85, 0.9, something like that. And yeah, you're not going to be upset having him on your team. But again, the whole point of this is to tier up all you can. So I would absolutely take all these guys over Hertl. No questions asked. And then, yeah, Kaprizov's obviously the biggest reach. But look, if you can get your foot in the door for a Kaprizov who has been, look, he's point per game over the last few weeks, but you want him to be like 1.5, right? So look, if Hertl can be a piece that you use to get Kaprizov, then I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
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 I was just gonna say, I do think Suzuki and Stützle are hard to acquire though. Like I would much rather have them over Hertl, but I think that they've been like phenomenal themselves. That there's not really a window to bridge the gap between what Hertl's been doing and what they've been doing. So I think it might be difficult. But we always say like 1-for-1 targets are always hard in themselves. But these are the type of names that you can maybe get if you do Hertl plus something else. Like a Hertl plus Radish and you get like a Stützle or a Suzuki, like I would love that, right? So maybe that's in the cards. And even Larkin and Jarvis, I think those are more feasible 1-for-1. And I would absolutely try to do those trades. Because don't forget to, like, his power play production has been insane. He does have like a few games that have since like severely skewed his averages. But he's a line 3C on his Vegas team for the foreseeable future. Like Mitch Marner is a line 2C and that's done. So if he's the line 3C, like he's not going to lose power play 1. Like their power play is great and everybody that's on it is like a valuable asset. But 5v5 deployment, I'm definitely not thrilled about. And yeah, if that sticks like that and they keep using Marner as a center, there's no way Marner's line 3C, right? So I think if you can trade him right now, it's the optimal chance to do it. And I would love to do that. I love what Jakey mentioned, everything he said. Now's the time to strike because this is the one that once those big games fall off the averages, like he's not going to be the same guy with the same pull. So you got to act now if you have Tomas Hertl.
Yeah, and like, sometimes you send a trade to a manager who takes it very personally and you just don't like want to hear from the person trying to send you a trade after. They're like, wow, I can't believe this. Like, never mind. I don't want to do business with you. If you do send Hertl for like anybody on this list that I mentioned, Suzuki or Stützle in particular, I don't think it's like a non-starter if you just send a 1-for-1. Because over the last 2 weeks, basically Hertl's almost doubled Suzuki's points. Of course, it's skewed, but just saying. And same with Stützle. But if you send it for Kaprizov without adding a plus, it's like, okay, yeah, have a nice day. Goodbye.
Somebody's going to spit in your face.
Yeah, so you need to add our like our token plus of Batherson's a great choice. Radish.
Yeah, it always works. It's always works. Like it's just always the perfect piece to just tear up.
That's it. So I just wanted to say that like that's kind of the way to start things. I think 1-for-1 for the rest, it makes sense. You'll be happy with the upgrade, even if you have to add a piece later. But start with the 1, and then for Kaprizov, it's just got to be a Batherson-esque addition.
If anybody has a 5 or 6 point game, like you got to try to trade them immediately. That's what I did with Logan Cooley earlier in the season. Like I think he had a 4-point game, and then like 2 games later he had like another 3 or 4 point game. He had like a hat trick in like 5 seconds or something. And then I traded him for Sam Reinhart.
Yeah, and
traded
then he
for Sam
died.
Reinhart who was averaging 0.5 points per game for like the last month at that time.
Well, that's one of those. I was talking with Bob earlier about like it's kind of scary with how bad he's been, and like
I know the way it's talking with Bob earlier.
Yeah, me and Bob.
Hey, Sergei, a long time no speak.
the fourth co-host that you guys he's also karaokeing definitely exists. No, like I was saying, like like sometimes like there's ones where you need to have like conviction, right, in your opinion. Even like the guy. So that was Reinhardt earlier this year, right? Like he was really bad, and there were a lot of reasons that were like, here's why he's really bad. But Kevin believed in, he had a conviction in his pick. He got him for like peanuts, not peanuts, but whatever. Essentially, like for what he's doing now, it's peanuts. And then he immediately turned it around. So, that's why like when you believe in something, you gotta just go for it and take the risk.
Yeah, it was Jakey's buy low that week, and then I was just like, maybe I really should try to do this. And then I believed in the process because don't forget, like Florida was awful to start the season. Like, we were like, there's no Matty Tkachuk, they're cooked, no Matty Tkachuk, no Barkov. Like this team is gonna be awful, and then lo and behold, they're better than just 2 players. So
Yeah. All right.
All right.
That was a good one.
This was a great one. As always, I'm ecstatic and very excited for the 2-week update. Thank you to everybody for listening to the Week 16 Buy Low Sell High episode. Give this video a like on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to our channel. Join the Discord community. The link to that is in the podcast description. All of our socials as well. You can see all the links there. And follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and rate us 5 stars.
boom.
Nice. Right on cue.
Yeah.
Take it away, Ernie.
Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo! Woo!
I saw you looking at me, Jakey.
I did.
He was like, "What is he about to say? What is he about to woo?"
Yeah, exactly.
What sound is about to come out of this guy's mouth?
What does the fox say?
Woo!
I came on shuffle the other day, and it's a
Oh my
crazy
God.
song.
Wait, do you guys
That's
use the
so
Spotify
jarring.
DJ?
No, what's that?
Oh, okay. You don't know what Spotify is, Josh?
No, what is that?
It's like a DJ that like, knows all your music taste. And
After the 1,000th times I've said follow us on
Yeah,
Spotify.
exactly.
Speaking
What's
of
that?
which,
I thought that's just the thing we say.
no, there's a DJ on Spotify that knows your music and like recommends you stuff.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
Nice.
it is sick. All right, check it out. Bye.